Co-chair for Donald Trump's campaign here in New York, Joseph Borelli, Bernie Sanders supporter Jonathan Ticini, Hillary Clinton supporter Ruben Diaz Jr., and Trump supporter Scotty Nell Hughes. Scotty, begin with you. So Trump's meetings with Ryan, these phone calls like we're going to see tonight, they're intended to unify the party, and yet in the last 24 hours, we have Donald Trump going after really one of the rising stars of the Republican Party, the first Latina governor in the country. How does he square that circle?
Well, I think Governor Martinez needs to take a hint from Paul Ryan, follow her suit, where Paul Ryan actually sat down and met with Mr. Trump 50-50. Mr. Trump is not going to sit there and pander to politicians. And these politicians that expect him to come with hat in hand and sit there and try to work for their vote, that's not how it works. They all need to work together for the people. Somehow we lost that kind of balance within the Republican Party. And so, what Mr. Trump did was after Suzanne Martinez actually said, well, I'm too busy to come meet with Mr. Trump when he's in town. Well, considering her state last year in 2015 was the #1, received the most money basically on food stamps, reliant on the federal government, I think she needs to have a pretty good relationship with possibly the next president of the United States. She was the one that chose this, and he was just saying, listen, you've got to work with me. I'm not going to come and pander to you like some of the other politicians obviously have.
So, Amanda, do you think that's fair criticism? Pandering, I mean, is that the requirement? You have to sort of show your loyalty?
I think Donald Trump would like people to do that. What I think is really interesting with Paul Ryan and the governor of New Mexico is he's essentially trying to bully them into endorsements. There was the news this morning that the Trump campaign is saying, oh, Paul Ryan's about to endorse me. Then the Ryan people said, no, we're not. Paul Ryan, I think, has laid some pretty good groundwork. Before he said, I'm not ready to endorse Donald Trump. He should, I think, follow that up by saying, here's 3 things that I want to work with Donald Trump on. Maybe tax reform, maybe Obamacare repeal. Pick a few issues to make Trump come your way, because Republicans right now do have leverage against Trump if they will use it to push him where he should go on these issues. But if you're just going to let it be wide open and say, I'm not going to meet with him, then Donald Trump is going to make a fool of you when he comes into his state, because he has no shame when it comes to this. So I think it's on these elected
I do have to
Republicans
ask you, is he bullying? I mean, those are strong words from him. Is he bullying Republicans to come out and support him?
No, it's not bullying. I mean, you see from Paul Ryan, the one thing you don't see, rather, from Paul Ryan is really any declarative statement that he's not going to endorse Donald Trump. And I think at the end of the day, there's no question in anyone's mind that the two of them will come together. As far as Susanna Martinez, I mean, she should be ashamed of herself to some degree. She's the governor of a state. You have the presidential candidate of her party in her state, and she decides to snub her. If she thought that Donald Trump wasn't going to hit her back, she obviously isn't even watching the news.
Oh, but to be fair, she's not the only Republican who has been slow to endorse him. I mean, is that a snub to wait to endorse?
We had a divisive primary. We all know that. We've covered that, to a great extent. But now you see Paul Ryan making the roads to come on board. You see people like Rick Santorum. You see a lot of people, establishment Republicans, conservative Republicans, getting on board. Shame on her as the head of the Republican Governors Association for not.
There's 2 different things going on here, though. There's the how do you get on board, how do you agree on policy or disagree, versus Donald Trump's abusive language. And he's abusive towards women, he's abusive to whether it's Democratic women, Republican women. This is the kind of standard and the environment that he's creating, and it's a sham. It's a complete embarrassment. What I'm saying is it's fine to say, come and meet, let's talk about policy, how do we come together and unify, but the kind of abusive language that Donald Trump uses repeatedly against particularly women, but against men and women, is the
language abusive, Ruben?
Well, if you look at when he went to go and see Paul Ryan. So, and now to say that Governor Martinez should come and see him, there's a double standard here. There's a difference in treatment. Paul Ryan still hasn't said he endorses Donald Trump, and so she has every right to hold off, just like Paul Ryan is. But again, to attack her and whatever he feels she's doing or not as governor, and not do the same to Paul Ryan, that's telling of Donald Trump.
The only chance that Donald Trump has to win this fall is, first and foremost, he has to unite the Republican Party. He has to earn the vote of Republican leaders like Ted Cruz, like Paul Ryan, like Governor Susanna Martinez. And when he goes out and attacks them, as he did last night, that is a step in the wrong direction.
That's his style.
Hold on,
I want to give you a chance to answer. How can you unify with that kind of back and forth inside the party?
Who's more important, the politician or the people? Mr. Trump has sat here and time again, he has record turnout, the top turnout for the GOP. Hold on. But now let's also realize, let's get the facts right here, because facts do matter. She first came out and assaulted him and talked bad about him in front of the Governors Association, verbally assaulted him
She
first.
loudly criticized
And
him.
then
What did she say?
Well, then
What
that
did
was
she
at the
say?
Governors Association. Then the second
What
thing,
language did she use,
when
though?
she was going, when he was coming to her
Scotty,
state.
what language did
Can
she
I
use?
What was the
answer?
criticism, just so our
Well, the
viewers know?
criticism was just that he was not being very presidential, and she didn't like his remarks.
Well,
about
that's
his
not
state.
unusual.
But it was a little bit about his
Scotty, you
state.
can't
behavior.
justify
Hold
the
on.
language he's using based on what
No.
she said, which is a
Says the
little
guy
bit
whose supporters are
legitimate.
throwing chairs
For the
across
other
their
guys. Here's the
state's
thing that makes me a little bit upset.
convention.
You were very sexist that you pointed out. You immediately said Mr. Trump uses this language against women just because
I
of
said
Susanna
women and
Martinez
men.
and Hillary. No, but you said mainly because it's a sexist. I'm sorry. Mr. Trump is sitting here. He's not going to be nice to politicians. He puts the people, which, by the way, the Republican Party, he actually has a lot of leverage because he has incentivized. He's engaged more people than
no one
any
wants to
other
lift the finger
politician
for him.
in Republican history to go to
I
the
may
polls.
grant you a small thing, which is he's an
gonna
equal
give you the last
abuser.
word, and
He
we're
abuses
gonna come
people.
back.
He abuses people equally with just horrific language that is debasing the political debate.
And he's
Not the end of
attacking
this discussion. We're
conservatives.
lucky we're going to have the whole
More
panel
than
back for the
Democrats.
next block. But out front's next. She is one of the most powerful women in the Democratic Party. Why is her job said to be on thin ice? Plus, Trump wants to ban Muslims from entering the U.S. So why is he investing in a country with the largest Muslim population in the world? Plus, Hillary Clinton's email use slammed in a new State Department report. Will it hurt her on the campaign trail?
Aaron Burnett Out Front, brought to you by Advil. Fast, powerful, and proven relief. Advil makes pain a distant memory.
Tonight, a scathing new report by the State Department's Inspector General has found that Hillary Clinton never got permission to use a personal email or personal email server as Secretary of State, and that there is no evidence she even asked for it. That directly contradicts Clinton's repeated statements that she did have approval from the State Department. The report also revealing that there were attempted hacks of her personal email, and more than one time. Out front now, CNN Justice Correspondent Evan Perez. So, Evan, a lot in this report, but one thing that was clear, it wasn't just one time that Hillary Clinton had said she was allowed to use personal email on a private server. It was, in fact, multiple occasions. Have a listen.
What I did was legally permitted. Number one, first and foremost.
It was allowed under the rules of the State Department. And again,
So nobody signed off on it?
no, it was allowed.
I saw it as a matter of convenience, and it was allowed. Others had done it.
My personal email use was fully above board. It was allowed by the State Department, as they have confirmed.
Evan, did the report back that up?
No, it did not, Jim. The report says that the setting up of this server and using this private email server exclusively for her time as Secretary of State was not only in violation of State Department rules, but also in violation of the Presidential Records Act. She was supposed to, when she left office, turn over all emails having to do with government business. She did turn over 55,000 pages, 30,000 emails, but only way later after she had left office, because the State Department was being sued under Freedom of Information Act requests.
Evan, another key issue here, of course, is the security of this server. Hillary Clinton said and has said repeatedly there were never any security breaches. Here's her saying that.
There were no security breaches. So I think that the use of that server, which started with my husband, certainly proved to be effective and secure.
So did the Inspector General back up that it was secure to use this server?
No, the Inspector General certainly raised a lot of concerns about whether or not this system was secure, and it reported that there were a couple of attempted hacks. There's no proof that anybody actually got in, Jim, but it does describe a really remarkable sequence where Secretary Clinton reports that she feared that she was getting hacked. She reported to an advisor that she thought she was being hacked, and the advisor's solution to this was to unplug the server, which is certainly not the way to deal with something like this, according to the Inspector General. And so that clearly was not the right way to deal with a security situation like that.
No question. Evan Perez, thanks very much. My panel's back with me now, along with Basil Smikle. He's executive chairman of the New York State Democratic Party. He is a Hillary Clinton supporter. Ruben, I do want to begin with you. We heard this explanation from Secretary Clinton repeatedly over the last several months. I had permission. The State Department lawyers knew. Now, the State Department Inspector General found that is not true, and in fact, she never asked her. There's no record of her asking for that permission.
Well, we actually welcome the conclusion of this review by the Inspector General because it confirms a number of things. Number one, it confirms that her actions were consistent of that of former Secretary of State. It also confirms that...
Not entirely true, because the report did say she used personal email far more than her predecessors.
But they all use personal emails as well as senior members of their staffs. It also shows that none of her server was never ever hacked. And she, unlike everyone else, she put forth 55,000 pages of email, and no one was ever subjected to putting that much information forward.
To be fair, you didn't answer the initial question was. She said she had permission. The report found she does not have permission. How damaging is that?
I don't think it's that damaging. I think that this continues to put us a step forward in terms of the conclusion of this issue. When we go around and we speak to many voters and we speak to folks, they want to talk about the real issues at hand. Just like Bernie said early on in the presidential primaries, we need to move forward on this server issue.
So, John, remind our viewers, you're a Sanders supporter. I have to ask, he famously said, as Ruben said here, we're sick of hearing about Americans don't want to hear about your emails. Does Sanders see an opportunity here? Does this keep him in the race longer?
Well, he's in the race till the convention because we will not have a nominee, and I keep repeating this to everybody, we will not have a nominee until the superdelegates vote at the convention. Mm-hmm. I do think that we will make the argument, and the superdelegates will see this, this is a question of credibility. We don't have to make that argument because Donald Trump is going to make that argument. And if we want to put forth the strongest candidate to defeat Donald Trump in the fall, it's clearly going to be Bernie Sanders because he's believable, he's trustworthy, and he's not someone who will be challenged and questions about these drip investigations. It is clear, as you introduced this, Hillary Clinton told everybody there was nothing there. The State Department has found the contrary to that. We still have to wait for the Department of Justice investigation that may look that's going to...
I want to get a Republican view, if I can, just quickly. Amanda?
Let me just add, as a communications professional, I don't understand why the Clinton campaign is not able to get ahead of this scandal.
It was coming.
Crisis 101, get in front of the problem. Don't surprise people. And yet today, they were clearly surprised by this report. And they were surprised by the inaccuracies in the report. They were surprised that, how is it that we learned from this report that she refused to cooperate with the IG? Why wouldn't she be more upfront about
Amanda,
that?
quickly, the Republican view of this. How much are they salivating over this revelation?
This is tremendous, largely because Hillary Clinton is whiffing on it so hard. But the one thing that this IG report confirmed is that Hillary Clinton lied. She misled the public at every opportunity in this investigation, and she shows that she cannot be trusted with matters of public record, and it confirms her long-standing history of problems with public disclosure.
Basil, accusation of a lie.
No, listen, there's nothing untoward here. The fact of the matter is this report doesn't shine any light on anything new. everything that this report says, is consistent with Hillary Clinton has said.
To be fair, that point about her not having permission, that part is new.
Basil,
the fact of the matter is that her predecessors did the exact same thing. Her predecessors did the exact same thing. And the truth is, she was concerned about cybersecurity, raised it, and the majority of this report actually does talk about that. So I don't really see the inconsistency. I don't see the newness of this report. And truth be told, I honestly think that the American public, as Ruben has said, wants to move past this. The scandal that has been, the so-called scandal in this, does not exist.
The scandal is that she relied exclusively on a public server to do official business. That was the end of it.
But others have done it.
It's one thing for the Republicans, but Basil, this is not good for us because it clearly does show that Hillary Clinton was not forthcoming and not transparent about this. This hurts. Excuse me. This hurts us if she's the nominee in the general election, and you're not telling. We have to be honest as Democrats. You're not being truthful about this. This report says that Hillary Clinton did not tell the truth.
Well, was Bernie Sanders truthful when he said? Was Bernie Sanders truthful when he said the American public is ready to get past this? If there was an opportunity for him to attack her on this and he chose not to,
folks, then
clearly we all should move past it. That was a moment of unity. That was the most important moment.
What does the State Department report say?
We're going to have to leave it. One thing it proves is this conversation is certainly not over. Out front next, while Republicans worry about a fractured party, is it actually the Democrats that are unraveling as talk over ousting the party's chair increases? And despite his calls to ban Muslims, Donald Trump is doing big business in the most populous Muslim nation in the world. We'll have a special report tonight.